Mr. Brown, I'd like to call the public hearing to order. Ellie, can you, read the call for the public hearing?
Notice is hereby given by the Chair of the St. Lawrence County Board of Legislators that the Chair and the members of the Board of Legislators of the County of St. Lawrence will meet at the Board of Legislators Chambers Courthouse located at 48 Court Street, Canton, New York at 5:50 p.m. on Monday, April 4th, 2022 for the purpose of conducting a public hearing regarding adopting proposed local law A for the year 2022, setting the salary for the county administrator. Be it enacted by the St. Lawrence County Board of Legislators as follows. Section 1. For the year 2022, following a performance appraisal of the county administrator, the salary for the following titles shall be increased to the amount listed below, and the increase will be retroactive to January 1, 2022. County administrator, $165,000. Section 2, this local law shall take effect in accordance with the municipal home rule law of the state of New York by order of the Board of Legislators.
Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to comment? Call.
No, you can just close. No.
The public hearing's closed. No one's commenting. Thank you. This time I would like to call to order the April 4th, 2022 full board meeting. Legislator Nicole Terminelli will be coming in a little late this evening. And Legislator Suzanne Biacco also will not be with us. She's excused tonight due to the death of her dad. I need a motion for to allow the suspension of the rules, to allow the attendance of meetings telephonically, and also to include a resolution to presentation of resolution at number 41, having to do with court consolidation. Mr. Kern makes the motion, seconded by Mr. Reagan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we'll have a roll call vote, or excuse me, roll call from Kelly.
Reagan,
Here.
Forsythe,
Here.
Lightfoot,
Here.
Sheridan,
Here.
Smithers,
Here.
Denisha,
Here.
Perkins,
Here.
Akers,
Here.
Fay, Haggard, Fiaco, Burke,
Here.
Arquette,
Here.
Terminelli, Curran. Here. 12 present.
Quorum. Legislator Denisha, could you lead us in prayer followed by the pledge of allegiance?
At this point, I'd offer a moment of silence for recently deceased Mr. Thomas Fiaco and Mr. John Forsythe, fathers of legislators Susan Fiaco and David Forsythe. Thank you. Dear Father in heaven, we're grateful for the opportunity to gather here this evening. And we ask that you be with us as we weigh the pros and cons of our constituents' requests and needs. Dear Father, we ask that you give us the courage to leave the past behind, that we may see the new things that lie ahead. Grant us the humility to be thankful for the blessings you have bestowed upon us, and allow us to cast aside all envious thoughts and wishes. For all these things, we ask your blessings through your Son, our Lord, Jesus Christ, through whom all things are possible. Amen.
Right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Time, we'll need a motion to approve the agenda, made by Ms. Kern, seconded by Mr. Smithers. Any discussion? Discussion is going to be, for me, it'll be that we're amending the agenda to include that resolution regarding a court consolidation motion. So that is what we will be. We need a motion.
Need a motion.
And someone wants to put that in the form of a motion. Go ahead, Ms. Kern, and Mr. Perkins seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of minutes, March 7th.
Mr. Chair,
Your motion? Yes.
and then a vote on the amended agenda,
It was on the amended agenda.
and then a vote on that is needed.
Okay, on the amended agenda. Mr. Perkins makes a motion, seconded by Ms. Kern. All in favor of the amended agenda?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Now, for the approval of minutes for March 7th. Your motion, Ms. Kern, Mr. Denisha, seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next, we have Kelly.
A resolution was received from the town of Brazier urging New York State to honor the tribal state compact agreement with St. Lawrence County and provide withheld payments and remain current in the future. An email was received from Dottie Spears requesting the legislators read an article from February 15th, 2011, written by Susan Mendy of Johnson Newspapers entitled "More Foster Parents Sought, Families Urge Others. St. Lawrence County Wants to Keep Children in Area." A copy of this article was emailed to legislators.
Thank you, Tom. Next, we have citizen participation. Any citizen wanting to address the board is asked to stand at the microphone, state your name, and before you get beginning your talk, and the address would be limited to 5 minutes. Anyone wishing to speak? Just upon a quoting, just state your name.
Nancy Griffin. I'd like to talk about the Bonadeo group. It's great that Bonadeo brings much needed improvement within the CPS system, and I hope they do. Office and Children Family Services did a review of complaints that were sent to them. They yielded letters back to complainants stating they thoroughly reviewed the case and they were completed. It was stated if any follow-up was needed, this will occur with DSS directly. Once again, a one-sided biased review was conducted, not asking complainants for any documentation or evidence to back up their claims. The county administrator stated that the county is investigating claims before offering comments. And the challenge is making sure everything we do is transparent, refutable, and defendable. To date, you have all failed in that challenge miserably. Oswego County legislators recently hired Bonadeo to help within their CPS department, but they also called on the Attorney General to investigate. I commend that board for the good faith attempt. No such good faith attempt from this county. You hired a commissioner for CPS, a man who comes from the Department of Juvenile Justice System. He was a superintendent and a regional supervisor of some of Florida's juvenile detention centers. The Miami Herald did a series on these detention centers called Fight Club. I highly encourage everyone to read some of those articles. It's a horrifying look inside and the many abuses within that have gone on for years and continued. After detainees overtook one of the centers last year, the detainees stated it was the only way to bring attention to the constant abuses within. Andrea Costello, director of Florida Institutional Legal Services Project, stated when abuses occur, the Department of Juvenile Justice does a poor job of policing itself and its providers and provides little oversight of its contracting programs. When they investigate themselves, they put together a team. The team comes in and says everything is fine. Allegations of abuse are deemed inconclusive and unsubstantiated when staff denies them. Case closed, no action taken. Sounds a little familiar. I question your choice, bringing in a person from one system notorious for horrifically failing children and placing him in another system that's failing children. March Service and Operations meeting, Heather Rand stated, children have a fundamental right to be raised in a safe and secure environment. And that collaboration is essential between service providers, schools, law enforcement, and others. But when some in law enforcement, as mandated reporters by law, do not report things like domestic violence or drug activity to help a child, we have a problem. Especially when all family court proceedings and CPS reports are altered because of them. The plaintiffs have been coming here for almost a year now. Cases are proceeding in court with some of the CPS wrongdoing. People still seeking justice and answers with none in sight. Your silence speaks volumes. Silence in the face of injustice perpetrates more injustices, and the facts don't cease to exist in spite of it. None of you have demonstrated good faith in regards to the complainants. Where do we go from here? Silence isn't acceptable. None of you are elected to run this county in a dictatorship. We're holding you accountable for your actions. Your rhetoric has been misleading and not believed, and has led to distrust in this board in this matter. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak.
Your name?
My name is Terry Watts. I live in the town of Macomb, and I have gone through a very horrific situation with me and my three, not two, but three beautiful grandchildren who the St. Lawrence County Department of Social Services has stripped my rights and visitations for my grandchildren. I have letters stating how my grandson wants to come home, but South Carolina Department of Services apparently has made it to where they feel that it's not ethical. My grandson has been gone through a lot, and I have raised him since a baby, all three of them. So sorry. People from RKA say, through a class I took, say I have no empathy. But I can tell you this, I am the most empathetic woman you have in this room, I feel. The way the social services has conducted themselves, trying to reach into personal counseling sessions of mine, illegally signing my name to documents to obtain that. Having a judge sit there and dismiss my case first 3 times in a row because social services was not prepared and the attorneys did not show up and said I should dismiss this, but didn't. My lawyer, which was one I thought would help me in this situation, well, apparently my lawyer did not. My lawyer was involved with the social services, the judge. I was told to play along. And I said, this is not a game. My 3 grandchildren are my life, they're my heart and my soul. And at the very end, I still was not able to speak. And social services made me to where I couldn't. I was silenced. And then having a judge tell me that if I try to obtain them back again, I will be arrested. And that is absolutely wrong. It was always returned back to me, but instead they made it to where they couldn't. And instead of checking in on my grandson, who has been traumatic things happen to him in South Carolina, they put him in a residential home. Have they gone to see him? Absolutely not. Do they call on checking him? Absolutely not. I do. I check on him. I see him. I have traveled 3.5 hours away multiple times to see him. I don't care if it's raining, sun shining, snowing. I will do what I've got to do for my grandchildren. I have a letter from my granddaughter, Angelina. When they took her after a court appearance, she said she does not want to go. She shouldn't have to go. Don't make her go. Cried, screamed, yelled. But yet, they took her. Heidi Rogers came into my home and says, with a smile on her face, see, I told you, you come against me, I'll make sure you'll never have your grandchildren again. And that's exactly what they have done. and she worked for the Department of Social Services. My granddaughter, Nevaeh, was put into Foster and Futures home, Karen Pearson's, which I thought she would end up being with Angelina, and didn't. And Xavier, he was put with a family, a man that abused his wife, physically and mentally in front of him. Now he is where he is now and still going through trouble. And the residential home, when I have phone calls with him, I'm hearing the people that's supposed to protect him at night, swearing at him, yelling at him, when he has brain problems. That's not how you treat children. That's not how you treat my grandchild. And if I get arrested tonight because I'm trying to speak out for my grandchildren, then so be it. Thank you.
Anyone else? You wish to speak?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry. Sorry for being late.
Come to the podium, please, just announce your name.
Sure.
You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, Rachel Raven, Governor. I am here again on behalf of being a citizen of Governor, concerned citizen, on behalf of Child Organization, as well as one of the 12 complainants that filed a complaint several months ago. Since I think it's been last July, we have tried to have a consistent presence and consistently expressed some very serious operational concerns within the county and specific to CPS. I continue to echo that we have serious concerns. I would like to speak with someone. I was told several months ago there'd be an investigation done. I have yet to speak with someone. Now, I did email the board and every member, I believe, on the board, which I brought a copy. Somebody didn't receive it for any given reason, with some questions and concerns. I'm going to provide this to Mr. Sheridan. Thank you. I was contacted, and then they chose to cancel the meeting. I was contacted by a lawyer by the name of John Murat from the Hancock Estabrook law firm in Syracuse. And I was told that he was representing the county. So I guess I'd like clarity because I know there was mention that there was a group, maybe Bonita group, that was being hired, and that was not the case. So he did have a time and date set aside for me to come to Canton. And I took the afternoon off. I was readily available. And then the meeting was canceled. Not by me, again, I am willing, able, I've offered my phone number, I've emailed, I'm begging. I have serious legal, like illegal things that happened. And I'm still 3.5 years later, seeing my children between 3 and 6 hours a week, supervised. As I work as a nurse practitioner, as all my negligent concerns through CPS has been expunged and unfounded years ago at this point. And I'm still not even understanding them. Again, I expressed to you guys, they didn't occur in the state of New York, the allegations. Those states did an investigation that were not by the letter of the law worthy of being child neglect or abuse. Yet somehow I'm in this situation and I'm working with multiple other people that are in such a situation. So this is concerning. I did get from the Office of Children and Family Services, since I filed a complaint, a notice, provide that to you for sharing freely, that an investigation has been done and if there's further concerns to contact them. Well, I wrote like a 3-page complaint. Guys, I have a lot more concerns than were in that 3-page complaint. I have serious conflicts of interest that I have documents to show that were calling and speaking with legal people involved in my case, but had no legal authority to be involved in my case. I have tangible examples, as do we have, as we've collected through child. So I'm here again since last July, and if anybody can clarify who's doing the investigation, if they want my input, if they want my black and white tangible examples, I'd take off any day. I'll take a week off to sit with someone. I have the paperwork. I can present it in a logical manner. So I hope somebody cares about my children, but if they don't, please care about maybe Trayana Somerville and her family. Please care about the Messina 12-year-old that got starved to death. There's policy and procedures that have serious delinquency. Somebody needs to say something or do something, and that's why we've trusted you. I know a few of you personally, and I trust those people. And I want to see some action. I want to see somebody take this concern serious. So my number is 315-854-0863. And until then, I'll sit and continue to advocate. I mean, I'll go to the White House. I'll do anything. These are my children, and I've missed 3.5 years of their life. So thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
My name is Courtney Fantone. I'm the founder and director of Child. I have an abundance of concerns for all of you. Some of them are new, some of them are old. I'll start with Bonadio. Last year, taxpayers paid $85,000 for them to complete an investigation. Here we are 6 months later, and the public has not received a single monthly update like we were promised. When the contract was foiled for Bonadio, individuals were told that one does not exist, but surely that's not possible. We later learned, unofficially and off of the record, that Bonadio was not equipped to conduct this investigation. The public was never made aware of this fact. This raises questions. Why was Bonadio hired before properly discussing what requirements were needed for this investigation? Why are we not providing the contract to those who are asking for it? And why was hiring an additional firm never disclosed to constituents, discussed in meetings, or announced to the media? Enter Hancock Estabrook. Presumably, we paid this firm a sum equal to or greater than what we paid Bonadio to complete a task that we previously paid Bonadio to complete. While embarrassing, this should have been announced to the public. When this contract was foiled, individuals were again told that this does not exist. Again, we know that this can't be possible. Currently, the general public has no idea that Hancock Estabrook was hired to handle this investigation. In fact, it wasn't until a handful of complainants received a phone call out of the blue from an attorney's office, Hancock Estabrook, saying that John Murad wanted to meet with them. Many of these interviews were ultimately rescheduled because Mr. Murad denied these complainants the right to have an advocate in the room, and denied wanting to see any of the evidence that these people had to support their complaints. As a result, many of these individuals were given no choice but to schedule with or retain an attorney, as they were not comfortable attending these meetings alone. Many of our complainants have trauma, anxiety, and a distrust for the system that's wronged them. So the thought of sitting down alone without an attorney hired by the county is frankly triggering for them. I am deeply concerned that St. Lawrence County chose to go with Hancock Estabrook, specifically the attorney John Murad, to investigate the complaints against DSS. Why? Because another important detail that the public is not aware of is that Hancock Estabrook, specifically attorney John Murad, is currently representing St. Lawrence County DSS in a lawsuit. The name of this lawsuit is LD v. Seymour. Quite frankly, given the deplorable actions Hancock Estabrook was alleged to have employed against the plaintiff or rape victim in LD Seymour, I am personally uncomfortable assuring complainants that there's no ulterior motive to these interviews. In summary, you are asking Hancock Estabrook and John Murad to investigate and determine whether wrongdoing exists in the complaints made against St. Lawrence DSS. their client on a concurrent matter. A matter that also accuses St. Lawrence County PSS of wrongdoing. This is more than just the mere appearance of impropriety. This is a blatant conflict. These are situations that most counties would avoid at all costs, but we're diving headfirst into them. Surely we can do better than this.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Thank you. We have one presentation of resolutions. Mr. Lightfoot.
I think you must be muted.
Mr. Lightfoot,
County.
there you go. You're on.
Are you ready, Bill?
Yes, we are.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution modifying the 2022 budget for community services for funding from New York State Office of Mental Health Workforce Grant Adoption.
Is there, yes, Mr. Kern seconds it, and is there any discussion? Don't see any discussion. How about a roll call vote, Kelly?
Reagan,
Yes.
Forsythe,
Yes.
Lightfoot,
Yes.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Denisha,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Akers,
Yes.
Haggard,
Yeah.
Burke,
Yes.
Arquette,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Resolution carries. Mr. Lightfoot.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution modifying the 2022 budget for community services for North Street Initiative Promise Fund and move for its adoption.
Seconded by Kern. Any discussion? See any discussion? Roll call vote, yes, Cal?
Forsythe,
Yes.
Lightfoot,
Yes.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Denisha,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Akers,
Yes.
Haggard,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Arquette,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Carried. Mr. Lightfoot.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution modifying the 2022 budget for the community services for comprehensive opioid stimulant and substance use site-based program fund for its adoption.
Seconded by Mr. Akers. Is there any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Oh, excuse me, let's go roll call vote.
Lightfoot,
Yes.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Denisha,
Yes.
Perkins, Akers,
Yes.
Haggard,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Arquette,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Forsythe,
Yes.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Resolution carries. Mr. Lightfoot.
Mr. Chairman, a resolution modifying 2022 budget for community services budget for cost funding from the Office of Justice Program and move for its.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Curran and Mr. Perkins. Any discussion? Any discussion? We have a roll call vote, Kelly?
Sheridan,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Denisha,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Akers,
Yes.
Haggard,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Arquette,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Forsythe,
Yes.
Lightfoot.
Yeah.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Resolution carries. Mr. Lightfoot.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution modifying the 2022 budget for community services for Epic Solutions LLC for improvements to billing purposes. Move for its adoption.
Second by Mr. Akers. Any discussion? No discussion. We have a roll call vote, Joe?
Smithers,
Yes.
Denisha,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Akers,
Yes.
Haggard,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Arquette,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Forsythe,
Yes.
Lightfoot,
Yes.
Sheridan.
Yes.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Resolution carries. Mr. Lightfoot.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution accepting a donation to Seaway Valley Council for community services, addiction services, and move for its adoption.
Seconded by Mr. Smithers. Any discussion? And roll call vote? No?
No.
Excuse me. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mr. Lightfoot.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution modifying the 2021 budget for community services for funding from RFMH/Oasis New York State opioid response agreement and move for its adoption.
Seconded by Ms. Kern. Any discussion? This time we'll have a roll call vote.
Denisha,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Akers,
Yes.
Haggard,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Arquette,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Forsythe,
Yes.
Lightfoot,
Yes.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Resolution carries. Mr. Lightfoot.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution authorizing an increase in rate for the Public Health Department Medical Director and move for it.
Seconded by Ms. Kern and Mr. Akers. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mr. Lightfoot.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution authorizing the chair to sign a request for a revocable permit with SUNY Dam for a bridges of poverty training and move for its adoption.
Seconded by Mr. Smithers. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mr. Lightfoot.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution for approval of rates for related services for the preschool special education program and move for its adoption.
Seconded by Ms. Kern, Mr. Perkins. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Lightfoot.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution authorizing the chair to sign a contract with Samaritan Medical Center for morgue and laboratory services and move for its adoption.
Seconded by Ms. Kern. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mr. Lightfoot.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution authorizing the chair contract for services for the preschool special education program and move for its adoption.
Seconded by Ms. Kern. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Go ahead, Mr. Lightfoot.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution proclaiming April 4th through 10th, 2022 as National Public Health Week and move for its adoption.
Second by Ms. Kern. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mr. Lightfoot.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution proclaiming the month of April as National Child Prevention Month. Move for its adoption.
Seconded by Mr. Denisha. Discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Ms. Kern.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a resolution declaring April Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and I move that resolution.
Seconded by Mr. Smithers. And any discussion? No, see any discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Ms. Kern.
I have a resolution proclaiming Earth Day in St. Lawrence County, and I move this resolution.
Seconded by Mr. Reagan. Any discussion? Mr. Akers.
Mr. Chairman, we have the EMC chair, I believe here, Mr. Rudiger. Mr. Rudiger, are you here to speak on this resolution? Is this not Lance Rudiger?
Yeah, Lance, they're talking.
Lance, could you hear Mr. Akers?
I did not, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Akers.
So, Mr. Rudiger, we have a resolution here proclaiming Earth Day in St. Lawrence County. As the chairman, are you still the current chairman of the EMC? Are you the chairman of the Environmental Management Council?
I'm not the chairman of it.
Okay. Would you like to speak? Are you here to speak to this resolution?
I can speak on my own behalf, but since we haven't discussed it as far as, presenting,
Okay.
on my own behalf, since the, very early stage of, Earth Day, EMC has been highly involved and done many, countywide, projects. One was a photo essay contest where we put the pictures all throughout the building here for the winners. Another is the EMC committee donated money to plant a tree in front of the port building. And in about 3 weeks from now, hopefully without snow, you'll all go to the courthouse and see a beautiful pink flowering tree that's been there about 10 years. We've also planted many different plantings around the area to commemorate Earth Day. And we have plans again this year to have a project which escaped me at the moment, but I apologize. But we do have one plan. And I appreciate the support we've gotten in the entire committee actually had talked about the support we've gotten in the last 20 years for Earth Day and our plantings and work with the community. So thank you very much to the entire committee, the chair, and especially to the administrator, who's also helped us somewhat in some of our projects. So thank you for giving me the moment. And I'd also like to thank, I'd like everyone to be well aware that the planning committee, or the planning department, really had put a lot of work into this, especially on their own time. We've gone way beyond. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you for commenting, Mr. Rudiger. That's
Any
all.
further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Ms. Kern, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a resolution designating April 2022 as Fair Housing Month, and I move this resolution.
Seconded by Mr. Akers. Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Ms. Kern.
I have a resolution authorizing the chair to sign a contract with the Rural Law Center of New York for indigent appellate representation, and move this resolution.
Second.
Mr. Akers, seconds. Any discussion? Go ahead, Ms. Kern.
I need to make a couple amendments in this. In paragraph number 5, where it says appellate representation up to 80, it needs to be 60 appeals. And on the next line down where it says that annual total cost to St. Lawrence County of $200,000, it needs to be changed to 180. And then in paragraph 7, be it further resolved, we would change the word, the number after center from 200,000 to 180,000. And from installments of 50,000 to installments of 45,000.
Mr. Chairman, I will second those
Okay,
amendments.
second by Mr. Akers. Any discussion? All in favor, go ahead, Mr. Akers.
I just want to say I've had the opportunity to work with the Rural Law Center on numerous occasions. And for those of you who aren't familiar with them, if you ever get a constituent who has a legal issue, who's looking for legal advice and can't afford the services of an attorney, they're in Messina and they provide free legal advice to individuals and arbitration services as well. So they're a great resource. And sometimes when you get calls from people who have nowhere to turn and they turn to you and you're not quite sure what you can do for them, you should suggest to them that they call down there and perhaps they can help them, perhaps they can't, but sometimes they can, and sometimes they can point them in the right direction of where to go.
Any other discussion on the amendment? No more further discussion on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Now in favor of the resolution as amended.
Aye.
Everyone's in favor of that. Anyone opposed? Any discussion? No opposed? Carried. Mr. Akers.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution establishing the budget for the New York Systems Change and Inclusive Opportunities Network, known as New York SkyOn Initiative. I move this resolution.
Seconded by Ms. Kern. Any discussion? There's no discussion. Could we have a roll call vote?
Perkins,
Yes.
Akers,
Yes.
Haggard,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Arquette,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Forsythe,
Yes.
Lightfoot,
Joe?
Yes.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Denisha,
Yes.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Carried. Mr. Akers.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution modifying the program year 20 budget for the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. I move this resolution.
Discussion by seconded by Ms. Kern. Any discussion? No discussion. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Akers,
Yes.
Haggard,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Arquette,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Forsythe,
Yes.
Lightfoot,
Yes.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Denisha,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Resolution carries. Mr. Akers.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution authorizing real property tax law correction and cancellation of void taxes.
Seconded by Ms. Kern. Any discussion? Go ahead, Mr. Akers.
So in the finance meeting, when I asked Mr. Green, Bruce Green, our real property director, about this, he sent me some information about the amounts of valued property that this has taken away from us. And it's a fairly significant amount of money, on a per year basis. And I don't know if part of our legislative agenda is that we're going to be losing property to the DEC or any other New York State regulatory agency, that the St. Lawrence County be fairly compensated for its loss as far as taxes to the county and to the schools and to the towns.
Any other discussion? No further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Breakers?
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution authorizing the chair to sign an agreement between the New York Environmental Protection and Spill Compensation Fund and the County of St. Lawrence, New York, regarding tax delinquent properties owned by Fleet Techniques Incorporated and Rosalind Salamanca. I move this resolution.
Seconded by Mr. Denisha. Any discussion? Don't see any discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Breakers?
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution approving rates for the coroner's program for funeral homes for transportation services and modifying the 2022 budget for the Public Health Department, and move this resolution.
Seconded by Mr. Smithers. Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Haggard,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Arquette,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Forsythe,
Yes.
Lightfoot,
Yes.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Denisha,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Akers,
Yes.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Motion carries. Mr. Reagan?
Mr. Chairman, I would ask my co-legislator, Margaret Haggard, to read this resolution, as I believe it serves.
Thank you, Mr. Akers. Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution proclaiming March 2022 as Women's History Month in St. Lawrence County and move for its adoption.
Is seconded by Mr. Reagan. Okay. And there's an amendment,
Yes.
Mr. Reagan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to amend the resolution that Legislator Haggard put together, which is a great list of some of the outstanding women in the history of St. Lawrence County, and add some of the others that also deserve recognition. And it's, needs to be understood that there are so many women from across St. Lawrence County who played such an important role in helping St. Lawrence County become the county it is today. But here's a few who I felt deserve special recognition. Mr. Lightfoot had also suggested that they ought to be included. Marion Sanger Frank of Ogdensburg, one of the leaders of the fight for the women's right to vote, was a newspaper columnist and suffragette who marched in the New York City's 1917 suffrage parade. Sally James Farnham of Ogdensburg was one of America's leading women sculptors at the turn of the century. She competed with men for commissions and created important public sculptures in Central Park in New York City, in Library Park in Ogdensburg, in the OAS building in Washington, D.C., the Bronx, California, Louisville, Kentucky, just to name a few. Sister Dorothy Kirby came to Ogdensburg in 1863 with 7 other members of the Grey Nuns. Under her leadership, they operated several schools, St. Lawrence County's first general hospital, which eventually became Claxton Hepburn Medical Center, St. Lawrence County's first orphanage, and St. Lawrence County's first nursing home. Sister Mary Patrick, a member of the Grey Nuns, became the first woman administrator of the Ogdensburg City Hospital, an orphan asylum, in 1865. The orphanage served more than 4,600 children over its 80-year history. Sister St. Susan, a member of the Grey Nuns, was the first woman administrator of a tuberculosis hospital in northern New York, St. John's Hospital, which operated on the Black Lake Road. Josephine Callahan helped open the first non-psychiatric nursing school in the North Country under the auspices of the Grey Nuns at Ogdensburg City Hospital. Mother Immaculata, a member of the Order of Sisters of St. Joseph, founded Modern Day College in Ogdensburg in 1960. She also founded 12 elementary schools across northern New York, including schools in Gouverneur, Messina, Norwood, as well as Tupper Lake and Denimore, to name a few. In 1909, Mary Williamson Averill Harriman was the richest woman in the world when her husband, railroad tycoon E.H. Harriman, died, leaving her $100 million. As a young woman in Ogdensburg, she helped found the Society of the United Helpers, the first non-Catholic orphanage and nursing home in Ogdensburg. She later became a major philanthropist and helped expand the New York City Boys Club, making it a national institution, helped establish the Bear Mountain State Park, Harriman State Park, the Letchworth Development Center for the Disabled, and helped save Yosemite Park, to name a few of her major accomplishments. Thousands of women from across the county have served as nurses, as enlisted, as non-commissioned officers, and officers in the U.S. Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard, and the reserves, and need to be remembered. I won't continue except for Lavinia York, who's one of my favorites of Ogdensburg. She was one of the community's earliest pioneer settlers and the wife of the War of 1812 hero, Sheriff Joseph York. After the Battle of Ogdensburg in 1813, she marched across the frozen St. Lawrence River after the British had captured the Ogdensburg community and demanded the return of her husband, who had been taken prisoner. The colonel was so impressed, he released her husband, and she was able to bring him home. So, it's important that we remember and celebrate the women who played an important role in St. Lawrence County's history. Thank you for your indulgence and thank you for your time. I've provided the information to Kelly and the county administrator. Thank you. I move that amendment.
That's an amendment.
Second?
Could you repeat that amendment?
Yeah, sure.
Just kidding. Okay, is there a second on the amendment? Mr. Kern. Any discussion on the amendment? I don't think there is discussion on the amendment. If there is, I don't think there is. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now on the resolution as amended, Ms. Kern makes the motion, seconded by Mr. Reagan. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you, Mr. Reagan. For your amendment. Mr. Akers.
Mr. Chairman, I proudly offer a resolution adopting the proposed local law A for the year 2022 for setting the salary for the county administrator. I move this resolution.
Seconded by Ms. Kern and Mr. Ganesha. Any discussion? Mr. Akers.
So in honor of Women's Month, I would like to note that Mrs. Doyle is the second women administrator here for St. Lawrence County. She's done a wonderful job for us. It's a challenging job at 26 department heads and 839 employees, covering the whole county with all the challenges and demands that are met every day by this county. And I'm very pleased that Ruth Doyle is actually doing this very complicated job and keeping the wheels of the county rolling. And she much deserves this raise.
Any further discussion? No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution opposing New York State Senate Bill S 8415 and Assembly Bill A 9563, imposing an excise tax on the sale of ammunition. I move for its adoption.
Second by Ms. Kern, Mr. Denisha, Mr. Smithers. And anyone else on the screen? No. Any discussion? Mr. Akers?
I want to thank Mr. Perkins for bringing forth this resolution and the county attorney's assistance in writing this. New York State is undergoing a challenge on almost a daily basis, a challenge to our Second Amendment rights. And it may seem innocuous that this is a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there. But the whole purpose of these type of things is actually to take away guns from people. And that's not what our Constitution stands for. And we will continue to fight here in St. Lawrence County to fight for the rights of our Second Amendment here in the Constitution.
Any further discussion, Mr. Denisha?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I spoke to this in committee, I'll first say basically the same thing as I said then. I look at this as a tax on law-abiding citizens who own firearms and enjoy the shooting sports. It actually forces sportsmen to fund anti-gun legislation.
Thank you, Mr. Akers. Any further comments? Mr. Arquette?
Forsythe.
It's Mr. Forsythe, I had your head turned, and it's dark in there, so.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The other part of this is that it starts out so easy. It starts out at 2 cents per casing. Years ago, New York State started a law enforcement fee of $1 per registered motor vehicle. Now it's up to $10 per vehicle in New York State. And that's just exactly what this will do. No one will know where that money goes, but it'll start at 2 cents and it will increase yearly or every other year without a doubt. So I'm opposed to any of these types of legislation. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Haggard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I support the Second Amendment. I support all the amendments. To me, they are not without limits. I have faith that maybe unlike some of my colleagues, the money that's collected from this tax will go to research on gun violence. I am going to vote no against this. And I do want to make it clear, I'm not asking anybody to have their guns taken away. Thank you.
Any other discussion? I also stated my comments in the last meeting on this in support of this resolution. And I won't go through them all again, but I will say that in short, I'm a strong believer in the Second Amendment. And where that amendment explicitly says the Second Amendment, the right to own firearms will not be restricted. It shall not be infringed, I think is the exact wording. So I stand by that. That's what I'll be supporting this resolution opposing New York State Senate bill. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Mr. Akers?
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution modifying the 2022 budget for the County Administrator's Office for the purchase of a dump trailer for the St. Lawrence County multi-use trail system. I move this resolution.
Mr. Smithers, seconds. Ms. Kern, seconds as well. Any discussion? Mr. Akers?
I made a mistake. I actually met for Mr. Arquette to talk to this. He's the chairman of that committee. Mr. Arquette, if you would, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a very valued piece of equipment. The structure of it is a little bit more narrow than we've been using in the past to get into some of the tighter quarters. This piece of equipment would be very valuable as we move forward and increase the overall mileage of our trail system. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion? We have a roll call vote now.
Burke,
Yes.
Arquette,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Forsythe,
Yes.
Lightfoot,
Yes.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Denisha,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Akers,
Yes.
Haggard,
Yes.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Resolution carries. Mr. Akers.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution authorizing the chair to sign a contract with Beardsley Design Associates for the Public Safety Complex renovation project and modifying the 2022 budget for a capital project in the County Administrator's Office, and move this resolution.
Seconded by Ms. Kern and Mr. Denisha. Any discussion? Don't see any discussion. Have a roll call vote, please.
Arquette,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Forsythe,
yes,
Lightfoot,
Yes.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Denisha,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Akers,
Yes.
Haggard,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Motion carries. Resolution carries. Mr. Akers.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution authorizing the closure of capital projects in buildings and grounds and modifying the 2021 budget for the County Administrator's Office to remove appropriate funds for the Public Safety Complex renovation capital project, and move this resolution.
Seconded by Mr. Denisha and Ms. Kern. Any discussion? Don't see any discussion. We have a roll call vote.
Curran,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Forsythe,
yes,
Lightfoot,
Yes.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Denisha,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Akers,
Yes.
Haggard,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Arquette,
Yes.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Resolution carries. Mr. Akers.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution modifying the 2022 budget for the County Administrator's Office for advertising expenses, and move this resolution.
Seconded by Mr. Smithers. Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Reagan,
Yes.
Forsythe,
yes,
Lightfoot,
Yes.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Denisha,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Akers,
Yes.
Haggard,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Arquette,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Resolution carries. Mr. Akers.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution authorizing the chair to sign maintenance and software agreements for folding and inserting system in the central printing and mail, and modifying the 22 budget for the County Administrator's Office, and move this resolution.
Second by Ms. Kern. Any discussion? Don't see any discussion. Got a roll call vote.
Forsythe,
yes,
Lightfoot,
Yes.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Denisha,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Akers,
Yes.
Haggard,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Arquette,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Resolution carries. Mr. Kern, Mr. Akers.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution modifying the 2021 budget for the County Administrator's Office for costs associated with court-ordered treatment services at New York State operated inpatient mental hygiene facilities. I move this resolution.
Seconded by Perkins. Any discussion? Mr. Akers.
I've asked the county administrator what we actually budgeted and what was our actual expense for 2021. Is it well over $1 million now?
Yes.
And how much did we actually budget for?
Oh, brought that to finance. I apologize. I can get that for you.
But it was about $500,000, was it not?
Yes, in generally, yeah.
So we have cost overtures of over $500,000, and this is a mandate that the state has put on us where I believe they used to cover 50%.
That was the shares in 2020, was the last time.
So now this is a new mandate by Albany dictating that the counties pick up the total cost of this. So we're up over $500,000 on this expenditure.
Any other discussion? Mr. Denise?
Thanks. Mr. Akers, pretty much said what I was going to say. But I think it's important that the public realizes that this is yet another example of an unfunded mandate. This is just it was an administrative change, just by the stroke of the pen. Someone in Albany can make this change. It's another $500,000 that the taxpayers in Seminole County have to come up with.
Ms. Kern?
I have a question, if you would let me, Mr. Akers. That $500,000 is how much taxation on land to make up for that?
I believe $440,000 represents a 1% tax increase. So the citizens of this county just experience almost a 1.5 tax increase if they were going to return that revenue to the county.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? No discussion, could we have a roll call vote?
Lightfoot,
Yes.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Denisha,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Akers,
Yes.
Haggard,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Arquette,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Forsythe,
Yes.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Resolution carries. Mr. Akers?
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution authorizing the chair to sign a contract with Colin Mackey for assistance and additional training in the Department of Social Services. I move this resolution.
Seconded by who? Ms. Kern. And any discussion? I don't see any discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mr. Akers?
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution authorizing the chair to sign a contract with Adirondack Architectural Heritage for preparation of a National Register of Historic Places District nomination application in modifying the 2022 budget for the County Administrator's Office. I move this resolution.
Seconded by Mr. Denisha and Ms. Kern. Discussion. Let's see any discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Denisha,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Akers,
Yes.
Haggard,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Arquette,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Forsythe,
Yes.
Lightfoot,
Yes.
12 yes, 3 absent.
Resolution carries. Mr. Akers?
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution authorizing the chair to sign a contract with Allied World Insurance for medical malpractice insurance coverage for county employed medical providers. I move this resolution.
Seconded by Ms. Kern and Mr. Perkins. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mr. Lightfoot.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution authorizing filling of vacancies and move.
Seconded by Mr. Perkins. Any discussion? No discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mr. Denise.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution authorizing the chair to sign a contract. Crawford and Stearns, architects and preservation planners, move it to Dallas.
Seconded by Ms. Kern. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mr. Perkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a resolution proclaiming March 2022 as Maple Syrup Producers Month in St. Lawrence County and move for its adoption.
Ms. Kern and Mr. Smithers seconds it. And is there any discussion? Mr. Perkins.
I'd like to thank everybody for letting me bring this forward without going through committee. This is more than just a pastime. We've got over 2,000 maple sugar makers in New York State. It's a renewable gourmet industry. Pure maple syrup. It's 100% natural, and it's been being used since the Native Americans. A lot of families get together, families and friends, and it's more than just a pastime. It's an economy that we have up here in the North Country. Hope you all support it.
Any more discussion? Ms. Kern.
So I went to Maple Weekend both weekends and checked out some of our local producers. They make a wide variety of products and just the maple syrup. Our local person in Waddington makes maple cream, maple candy, maple cotton candy. And they sort of are in business with some people that bring them bourbon barrels, and they make bourbon infused maple syrup. And some of those barrels then go back and they make some maple infused bourbon and whiskeys that we tried while we were there. And it was wonderful, and it was great to see all the people that came out for the first time to see each other in a long time.
Ms. Haggard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At Potsdam High School, we have our very own sugar shack. And it's been so much fun to watch the students learn about the process and make their own maple syrup. This is a great resolution. Thank you for bringing it forward.
Any other discussion? Mr. Smithers, go ahead.
I have some relatives that have been involved in this for years, and some of them don't do it anymore, and they say, this is so much work, you've got to love the work. It's not just a money-making enterprise, it takes a lot of work. Some of them get creative in the products, and if you've never had maple sugar-coated walnuts, you're missing something. They're almost crazy. Right.
I forgot.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. This next one is in my name, but I'm going to ask Vice Chairman to present it. Mr. Ganesha.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution for the reappointment of the Republican Elections Commissioner and
And Mr. Reagan and Mr. Akers seconds it. Is there any discussion? Yes,
I
Mr.
would like to be in.
Okay, so noted. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mr. Lightfoot.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution appointing a Director of Public Health, St. Lawrence County, and move for its adoption.
Seconded by Mr. Ganesha and Mr. Akers and Ms. Haggard and Ms. Kern. And is there any discussion? Mr. Akers?
So I think Jolene Munger is an excellent candidate. She's been holding the position of interim actually without a deputy. One of the things I'm very thankful for that Jolene Munger did for the agricultural community is that she organized like mass vaccinations where farmers would meet all at one farmer and get their employees together. And I think cooperation through, I think we had an individual from our IT department, we had cooperative extension, and it was a multi-agency that Jolene Munger put together to actually have safe vaccination practices for the employees in our very valuable agricultural enterprises. And that innovation alone, and also she reached out and has a very positive relationship with our schools in this COVID endeavor. Hopefully we can move on from COVID. It hasn't finished with us yet, and so I'm looking forward to what she can do for the public health here in St. Lawrence County in the future. And I wholeheartedly support her appointment.
Ms. Haggard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I can't imagine being in public health, which probably a great place to work, and then have what happened in 2020 happen. And this person, I got to know very well through the last 2 years. She rose to the occasion of fulfilling this role in an amazing way. And by the way, she's not answering her texts right now because I think she has a well-deserved vacation on the books. But this is a great appointment, and of course I support it.
Thank you. Ms. Kern.
I have to say that what she took on was pretty incredible. She went from being the assistant director only for a very short time to having her boss leave in the midst of the pandemic. And she kind of rose to the occasion and took on a bunch of stuff. I was surprised one day when I went out to do vaccinations to people that she was in the field helping with the vaccination progress, like firsthand. So I support this resolution wholeheartedly.
Any further discussion? Mr. Lightfoot.
The preceding legislators that spoke sort of stole my thunder and mentioned about everything that I was about to say. But let me just wrap it up saying that we are very lucky to have this young lady in the position that she's in. And I think that she certainly rose to the occasion with the pandemic. I know of no one, here right now that has ever experienced such a pandemic. And she has done it with grace and efficiency. And she's shown that she's got the background, she's got the skill set and the foresight to run a department. And added to that, she was running it when there were numbers of vacancies in that department and doing one very fine job. And I got to say that when no one raises any issues about her qualifications from Albany, New York, at all for this position that we filled before, and saw what we had to go through, that I think we are blessed by having this young lady running this department at this time. So I wholeheartedly support her as the Director of Public Health for the county.
Any other discussion? No more discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Hands will carry. Next, we have Mr. Denisha, who will bring this resolution up as well. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a resolution opposing the 2022 court consolidation proposal and move for its adoption.
Second by Ms. Kern, Mr. Perkins, and Mr. Ray. Any discussion? I'd like to just say, to wrap it up in a few words, the resolution pretty well points out in a nutshell, it imperils diversity. It may constitute constitutional and voting right act violations, transfers power for the selection of judges from voters to appointing officials. It provides an inadequate number of judges in less populated counties, such as St. Lawrence County. And it fails to correct the imbalance of resources among our courts and does not consolidate or simplify the court system. Instead, merely renames the various courts as divisions. Our county attorney, if you would like to weigh in on this, you can do that now.
It's over there.
He came back.
Oh, there you are, Steve. That's right. You're here today.
I'd be happy to. I think all of you are aware, I tend to try to keep my eye on the pulse of what's happening down in the Albany area, specifically with the judiciary. Chief Judge Janet DiFiore, who was appointed several years ago to become the chief judge, has made no secret about the fact for several years that her objective has been to quote unquote consolidate and make more efficient the court system. Interestingly, though, each of the proposals that she's brought out does neither. The consolidation, as I think the chairman pointed out, it is not really a consolidation of positions or a reduction in the number of positions, but rather a reclassification of those positions. Under this proposal, essentially, they would abandon the traditional structure of the courts as we know it. We have a family court, we have a surrogate court, we have a Supreme Court, we have a county court. County court takes care of our criminal matters. Our family court naturally takes care of our family court matters. Surrogate takes care of our probate matters. Our Supreme is essentially the general court that can handle any and all disputes that take place. Well, under the Chief Justice's proposal, they would get rid of those separations. They would create, as the chairman pointed out, 6 separate divisions, all essentially still running with those types of demarcations. You'd have the criminal division, you'd have the family division, the probate division. But interestingly, embedded in the proposal is the creation of a number of different bureaucratic positions. Those bureaucratic positions appointed by Albany, appointed by the Chief Justice, something that doesn't exist right now. Once again, not really consolidating or streamlining anything, but adding positions into the mix, and namely positions that are not selected by the people. In order to get some of the positions offset, they would reduce the number of justices that some of our more rural counties have. Likely St. Lawrence County would see the impact through the loss of a potential justice that is selected by the people through an election process. So when the resolution speaks to a loss of voters' voices, potential disenfranchisement, that's what it's speaking to, this idea that we would essentially abolish certain elected judges to move to a position in which they are bureaucratically appointed. The allegation essentially is that by empowering the Chief Justice to bureaucratically appoint judges that would have oversight regarding the assignment and selection of court cases and matters that move forward, they fall prey to the political system. Having fallen prey to the political system, it calls into question the independence that the judiciary is supposed to naturally enjoy, both from the executive branch and from outside influence generally. So the proposal, as I think the chair has rightfully put out, really is to oppose this move, largely driven by the folks down in Albany, to take over power of the judiciary through bureaucratic appointments under the guise of being for the purposes of consolidation or efficiency. As I think I've pointed out, and I think the chair pointed out, it's anything but.
Thank you, Steve. Yes, Mr. Reagan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Steve. And I think one of the most important points that we need to keep in mind is, the current system that we have requires the judges that we have, to the great majority of them, to come back up for a vote every 10 years. By making them all Supreme Court justices, we won't see them for another 14 years before the voters get a chance to weigh in as to whether or not they feel that this justice has provided justice and fairness to the people of the state. So the whole purpose of our judicial system has always been in New York State that these justices have to go back before the voters and give the voters an opportunity to weigh in on whether or not they've done an effective job, whether their policies are right or unfair. And this undermines the voters opportunity to vote out justices who they feel have served the people and how they serve the people.
Mr. Akers?
This is part of a larger trend. I mean, we're seeing it all the time where you have the elite minority trying to rule the majority. Simple case here, a proper example of what happened here in St. Lawrence County is the election of Greg Story as somebody for the county judge. The previous county judge was restricting people's rights, so they're clearly to the Second Amendment rights for pistol licensing, putting restrictions on these licenses. It's the same thing you have with the World Economic Forum trying to rule, taking advantage of this crisis, this pandemic, to put policies in place. The same thing with the Davos, the same thing with the Copenhagen Consensus. You have individuals such as John Kerry actually worried about the emissions of war for climate change and how it would block their objectives, not concerned about the rape and the murder of innocent and the bombing of innocent citizens in Ukraine. So this is the type of thing that we have to knock down step by step every time it comes before us. And here, the example was the election of Greg Story, someone who supports the Second Amendment and ensures that the constitutional rights of the people of St. Lawrence County concerning the Second Amendment will be upheld.
Any further discussion? No further discussion. All in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Opposed? No one opposed? Resolution passes. Okay, Ruth, do you have a administrator's report for us?
I do. Just a few items to update you on this evening. I have two transfer of funds, both this evening for the sheriff's office, and this is pursuant to local law C for the year 2011. The authorization to transfer not to exceed between 200 and 400 accounts in a department budget. There has been $2,633 moved from the automotive equipment to the automotive expenses line. This is associated with authorized purchases of vehicles for 2022. The second one is a transfer also for the sheriff's office in the amount of $2,075. This is to provide for the first year of a 3-year contract to purchase 8 more body cameras. As all of you are aware, the sheriff has an unprecedented number of folks in the academy. This will provide funding. The first year is that $2,075. They will budget for the remaining 2 years in the budget process in the fall. Wanted just to give you a brief COVID update. Over the weekend, we saw 125 cases. That was 51 on Saturday, 26 Sunday, and 48 as of the reporting time today. There were 12 reported as hospitalized, and that was divided evenly, 6 and 6, between those hospitalized for COVID and those hospitalized incidental with COVID. We also received an update on our positivity rate of 4.5%. The New York State percentage is 2.9% currently, and the fully vaccinated rate in St. Lawrence County reported today was 60.8%. Also wanted just to mention that the COVID community level, as you're seeing in our updated reports these days, is currently at low. Also, just a note, we are moving with our regional partners, Jefferson and Lewis County, to a Monday and Thursday reporting on the COVID numbers. So you'll see those, certainly as we start that process, those numbers will be higher because there are going to be more days included. But we will look at that for the month of April and determine if there's a need to resume daily reporting or if in fact we should move to once a week or once a month in the future. All good signs as far as the number of cases. Also to that end, the executive order that authorizes remote attendance at meetings is in place until April 15th. That provides the opportunity next week at operations for this board to have a conversation moving forward. You may recall pre-COVID that legislators were provided the opportunity to attend remotely. There was a requirement at that time that we needed to make public the address with which they would be attending the meeting. So should there not be an extension, perhaps a conversation on the operations agenda would be appropriate to determine how the board would like to move forward. I think you heard our planning director, Jason Fotenhauer, speak to meeting attendance for the multiple advisory boards, committees, and councils who are also considering situation where after having attended for almost 2 years, they're looking at the ability of membership influenced by how busy folks are in terms of making trips to those meetings. So certainly something I think to consider that would provide for operations, and should there not be an extension after April 15th, the services and the finance committee meetings, we would no longer have that opportunity unless we publish the address. So we'll add that for discussion. Vacancy Review Committee is scheduled for tomorrow morning. We have 6 departments and 15 vacancies to be considered by legislators attending. Commissioner Joe Siebert will begin his work in St. Lawrence County tomorrow morning. He will spend the morning in orientation, and then in the afternoon, he will join us for interviews. I greatly appreciate you approving the Colin Mackey contract to continue. He's been helping us wrap up 2021. Our hope is that tomorrow is our last interview for the accounting supervisor, and that we'll be able to make a recommendation to fill that position that the board's approved. Wanted to let you know that the City of Ogdensburg made an additional payment of $137,000 towards the outstanding balance on property taxes. And in May at the board meeting, I'd like to plan for a small reception recognition ceremony based on meritorious service for folks who have gone above and beyond. I did meet last week with legislators who attended NISAC to go over not only the seminars that were attended, that they'd like to see additional action taken, but also to review which resolutions we'll be placing on the April Operations Services and Finance Committee agendas for the board to take up and have discussions regarding. And then lastly, just wanted to let you know that I've been appointed to a National Association of Counties, or NACO, Programs and Services Committee standing committee for a 1-year term, and their first meeting will be next week. So I'm hopeful that both we can bring in information, the chairs from supervisor from California, that we can bring in some new perspectives to St. Lawrence County from across the country. Questions?
No, doesn't appear to be any questions, Ruth, thank you.
Okay.
Any old or new business to come before the board? There being none?
Nope.
Nope.
Larry.
Larry? Go ahead, Larry.
Mr. Chairman, in light of we discussed it at our last meeting, and a lot of correspondence been going around in regards to the ARPA funding that we received and providing bonuses to St. Lawrence County employees. I was asked some time ago if I thought about it. I responded, and I think at this point throughout the course of my interaction with a number of people over the last couple of weeks, I think it's appropriate to read the letter and have it incorporated into the minutes of the meeting. It's in regards to the ARPA. I fully understand the position of the union and the desire to seek any additional compensation that may be available. I also value the contributions of each and every St. Lawrence County employee at every level. It hasn't been easy, but they've stepped up and done whatever was asked of them. However, I am unaware of any county employee that lost their job as a direct result of the COVID pandemic. If our employees had suffered financial distress as a result of the pandemic, I would have a different viewpoint. When we were required to reduce the number of staff in some departments to meet social distancing requirements, not one person lost their job. In fact, most if not all, still received their paycheck, even while they weren't working. Highway Department is a good example of this, as they instituted staggered work weeks. Our employees, along with almost every other citizen in the United States, were recipients of 3 economic stimulus checks. First one was in April of 2020, which is $1,200, in addition to $500 for each eligible dependent under the age of 16. The second was in December of 2020, which was $600, in addition to $600 for each eligible dependent under the age of 16. The third was in March 2021, which was $1,400, in addition to $1,400 for each dependent, regardless of age. It is my belief that the ARPA funding is better spent across the county on projects that will affect the greatest number of people. But if we truly want to give money away as a humanitarian effort, I feel we should give it to the 4,200 people in St. Lawrence County who actually lost their jobs. The end.
The second.
One of the reasons I brought this up, I think it's at the last meeting, Mr. Chair.
I can't hear you. Could you
I'm
speak up?
sorry, I guess I'm on one. One of the reasons I brought this up was that we have a high turnover rate in many of our departments, and we have problems with retaining employees. I'm gonna call on the county administrator, because I know she has some good ideas about incentives for retention and to slow turnover in our employees, and ask that she bring some of those forward. We had kind of a discussion about it, and I think they were good suggestions, and so I would ask Ms. Doyle to update the board at some point on some of those ideas.
Go ahead.
I'm happy to. I think she's asking in the future. Me to-
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Not right now, I don't want to put her on the spot.
Yep.
Mr. Akers?
So if you look at any survey of employees and what they're looking for and the reasons why they leave the job, money ranks near the bottom of actually where it keeps people in the job. Value, integrity, and things of that, meaning the work that they're doing means much more. So if you look at the compensation of the average, now we're talking averages, the average county employee makes $55,000 in salary. The benefit package is 58% of that, and that ranges, it can go higher, it can go lower. But on the average, it's about 58%, which adds another $30,000 to that salary, that whole compensation piece. So the average county employee is making 55 plus $30,000 in benefits, which covers Social Security, health, and things of that nature, everything that goes along with it. And not only that, they have 12 vacation days that are paid. I value their input too. We couldn't do this without them, and they do provide a tremendous service. But if you look at that, you compare that $80,000 in benefit compensation package compared to what the mean average, which is available on your 2020 census, which is on the county website, you will find that the mean, which is the average household income is 49,000. And the 49,000 doesn't include if they're getting benefits. Many people, particularly in the service industry, are not receiving any benefits. They don't receive a retirement package. There are waiters, there are hostesses, and there are hotels and whatnot, and people that are servicing the tourists that come into this town. So compensation is not an issue. I don't believe it should not be a consideration as an issue. We were both, our chairman Sheridan and myself were interviewed by Channel 7, and like any media summary of what our comments were, you don't always get what you want, as the old Rolling Stones song is. And in my last statement to Keith Penman of Channel 7 is that our interests were to take this money, which is federal monies, and to benefit all of the residents of St. Lawrence County, and not a subsection, which is the subsection that's asking for this money is 839 employees. So in the case where they use Franklin County, I believe, laid off, I think about 200 other employees. I think Franklin County has about 500 employees, and they laid off or furloughed them, about 200. So their reasonings, which I don't know specifically about why they chose to give this $3,000 for every county employee that was a full-time person, and then additionally $250, I think, if you were vaccinated. This is a decision that they made. I am not in their business. I question why Franklin County cut the funding for cooperative extension when Franklin County is primarily ag-based and is the source of much of the revenue for the county functions. But that was their decision. And our decision, as Mr. Denisha pointed out, nobody lost their job. I pointed out the compensation pieces of this. They're well compensated. It's a 35-hour work week. This is a pleasant place to work. It's challenging work, particularly, I believe, in DSS as we hear on our board meetings and what we're doing. And so I, for one, I just wanted to make it clear because as the chairman of the American Rescue Funds, I am not interested in actually taking any subset of and supporting them with additional bonuses. My intention, I hope that the projects that we approve will get 8 votes or majority, will support issues that will benefit every citizen in this county.
Thank you, Mr. Akers. Is there anyone else who'd like to chime in on the discussion? Go ahead, Ms. Kern.
So I've gotten a few emails from constituents that are unhappy with the idea of us giving any sort of bonuses. I will read a small excerpt of one without any name. I find it offensive that the St. Lawrence County employees want a bonus because they work through the pandemic. Many of us work through the pandemic providing health care, groceries, and other things. We did not qualify for a bonus. How many times were we exposed to COVID? Did they get calls from their health nurse on the weekend telling them they had been exposed yet again? I feel it would be a slap in the face to the rest of the employees in St. Lawrence County who worked but are not county employees to give this bonus. I've heard a lot from fire and rescue about the things that they need to keep up taking care of the people that live in our county. Money for AEDs was one suggestion. Many of the volunteer fire departments are running out of money to replace their air packs and other things they need to fight fires. So I, like Mr. Akers, want to make sure that we're taking care of our constituents and members of this county across the board. Not that we don't appreciate what the county employees do, we certainly do, but we have to answer to everyone. Thank you.
Mr. Akers.
I'd just like to correct a comment that I made when I said there's 12 paid vacation days. It's not paid vacation days, it's 12 paid holidays. And in addition, they do have vacation time. So I would like to correct that. I misspoke when I said paid vacation days, it's paid holiday. So they have 12. Thank you.
Anyone, Mr. Smithers?
Yes, to make sure that we stay within the parameters of the ARPA Act. And on YouTube to watch the video where our county attorney laid out the 3 avenues of using the ARPA funds. The first 2 would be obvious that they're not applicable to this request. And the third one is where it says to provide reasonable incentives for retention for workers to remain with the employer as compared with other employment options. Retention incentives must be entirely additive to an employee's regular compensation, narrowly tailored to meet and should not exceed traditional compensation that alternative employers may offer to compete for the employees. And to agree with Mr. Akers' comments, I think the county is offering pretty reasonable compensation for work that's provided. The benefits can't be compared to a private employer. For the most part in the county, private employers are having trouble finding workers. There's help wanted signs everywhere. There's a lot of turnover, and a lot of our industry people are changing jobs for various reasons. If we're going to ask a county administrator for information, I'd like to see that compared with the turnover rates in other areas, other counties, other industries, see how the county's turnover rate, which we're interested in retention, how that would compare. If we're going to not exceed traditional compensation that alternative employers may offer, I think we need to look at what our private industry in the county is doing that's going to try to hire these workers away from the county. I think it's going to be pretty hard to do. So while I appreciate, as Mr. Janisha said, all of the effort that our employees put in, they did not lose their jobs. A lot of people did during COVID. So I've had other people comment to me that why should we give them a bonus for continuing to do their job when they were paid to do it? Doesn't make sense to a lot of the people that have jobs outside of government.
Ms. Hager.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to point out that I did get quite a bit of feedback from our employees, and it crossed, I think, most of our unions. It's not just CSEA that's asking for this. I got calls from highway, public safety, all sorts of people in the county employment. And my point is that we are losing people to other municipalities. And I know that because I've talked to some of the department heads who can't compete with even small villages and what they're paying for people to come there. So I believe that somewhere along this line, whether it be ARPA funds or some other funding source, we have to look at what it is that is causing this loss of people. We're always looking for people. And at some point we had, the openings in public health during a pandemic were very serious. And that I know will be addressed by Mrs. Doyle's report to us, how we can attack that. But it's not just one group in the employ of the county, it was across. I heard from all sorts of people. I got phone calls, snail mail, texts, and emails from a lot of different areas. Thank you.
Mr. Denisha.
Thank you. And I'm glad Legislator Hager brought it up because I neglected to mention, I too have had many calls. Calls in addition to conversations out and about. But a number of the calls that I received were actually from highway employees saying that they were against any bonuses from the ARPA because they were thankful that they had been able to work. They were thankful they didn't lose their jobs. They were thankful they didn't lose any money. So there are people, and I'm truly thankful for our employees. But there's always more than one side of the coin.
Any further discussion? Any other old and new business? Okay, how about committee reports? Does anyone have any committee reports to report on? We see these committee reports coming in. Ruth, do we have a need to go into executive session?
We do for litigation, negotiations, personnel, to discuss the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation. And we have appointments.
Motion move to executive session. Mr. Smithers, seconded by Ms. Kern. All in favor of going to executive session?
Aye.
Ms. Fleischman.
This marble pillar in front of the house.
Go ahead, Mr. Fleischman. With your appointments.
Mr. Chairman, reappoint to the Youth Advisory Board, Youth Committee, Elif Aya, Potsdam, New York, Connor Janak, Harrisville, New York, and Johannes Ritter, Potsdam, New York. And move for their appointment.
Is there a second? Mr. Perkins makes a second. Any discussion on any of these people? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Ms. Kern.
For the St. Lawrence County Planning Board, term to expire 3/7/2025. We have Laura Foster of County Route 19 in Herman. She is replacing David Duff.
Seconded by Mr. Smithers. Any discussion on this person? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Carried. Mr. Akers.
Mr. Chairman, I offer for reappointment to the St. Lawrence County Workforce Development Board, Jack Backus of Augsburg, New York. I move his appointment.
Seconded by Ms. Kern. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. If there's no further business.
Move
We'll
adjourned.
move to adjourn. Mr. Bacon moves to adjourn. Mr. Kern seconds. All in favor?